Happy Easter, everybody. It's Sunday morning. I hope y'all are having a good one. I got people coming over here, so I thought I better get my work done before they get here. I need to have a little fun before I have to deal with family. It helps. Really, it does. Do a little work before they get there, and then your temperament is completely solid and smooth and ready to handle whatever they bring. Holidays can be stressful, you know. Anyway, I'm so excited. I've finally done it. I've finally done the one big bloom thing. I've actually done it twice. One of them I didn't get to video because my camera cracked out in the middle of it. The second one I did that I'm just posting the video now. So this is really the third one I've actually done. This one is going to be a repeat of the very first one because while I did post that video, that piece got ruined when I put it up to dry. It was in my pouring pan here, and I thought it was level enough that it wouldn't migrate, but it did. And so it was kind of unrecognizable. It was still kind of pretty, but it didn't look like a bloom anymore, and that was my whole point. I wanted to make one big bloom on a big canvas. You know, it's one thing to do the blooms on a smaller scale, but I didn't see anybody doing them on a really big size like this. There may be people doing them, I don't know of them, but I just wanted to have a chance to try and make a bigger one, and I finally did it, and I'm really excited. They turn out really pretty. I won't be doing a lot of them because it's a lot of paint to make one, and it takes a lot of time. It takes me about an hour to get ready to do it, mixing all the colors and everything. This one, like the last one, is made with only Colorarte pigments. I got my Bright Bloom shipment in yesterday evening, and I couldn't wait to try it, and I made the one yesterday evening, and it's probably the best pour I've ever done. It's one of the best pours I've ever seen. And it's posted in the last video. I'm not sure what I'm going to call it. Something like I finally did it, or the big bloom, or something to that effect, but it'll be the one from yesterday. So it'll be something like that, but I'm really excited about it. The one I did last night with the Colorarte pigments, I got my Brite tone in, and I got the Colorarte pigments in, so it's made with the Brite tone and the Colorarte pigments, and it's just gorgeous. So I decided this morning I'd do another one the same way. I will tell you about the little things I've tweaked in the recipe. I've started adding a little glue to my colors. After I put the pigment in the cup, then I add a little bit of polyacrylic to it, stir it up until the pigment's dissolved. Then I add just a dab of glue, not a whole lot, not even what I would consider a whole part, but just that first little blob that comes out of the jar. And then I mix that up before I add my pouring medium, because the glue if it changes the color too much, I want to be able to adjust that at that point, because it's easier to change the color when you don't have very much in there. It's a whole lot harder to adjust the color when you have a bunch of pouring medium on top of it. So I mix the glue then I add the pouring medium. The pouring medium is made up of the Brite Tone, 1 part, and the Glidden Premium Semi-Gloss Base 3 House Paint, 3 parts. That's the pouring medium. So, and all of that I've listed in detail on the video called Today's Blooms. I go through the recipe. And that's my optimum recipe, the one that uses the Brite Tone. And I use 1 part the Brite Tone, 3 parts the Glidden Premium Semi-Gloss Base 3. And then for the pillow paint, I've got Glidden Premium Semi-Gloss Base 1, and I add a little bit of GAC 800 to it to prevent crazing. So that's the basic recipe. I haven't tweaked anything about the pillow paint. I have changed the cell activator completely. When I make a white one, I use a tablespoon or a part of Amsterdam titanium white, a part of glue, or a tablespoon, 3 parts Floetrol, and I stir all that up, and then I add a little bit of silicone, and that works great for me. If I'm doing a colored one or one with pigments, I'll put the pigment in, or the paint, whichever, and put some polyacrylic in it if it's a pigment. Stir that up till the pigment is dissolved, and then I add the glue and stir that, and then add the Floetrol and stir that, and then add the silicone. And don't stir that, because I don't stir that until the very last when I'm getting ready to use it. And you know that when you're using silicone, please don't stir it too much because it denatures it. Just give it a couple of whips around, and that's good, because if you overstir it, it won't work. Another thing I wanted to mention too, these are just things that somebody told me that are very helpful. On your Floetrol, don't forget to mix up the Floetrol, because it will, if it sits, it'll kind of separate a little bit. And also you get these gummy big blobs of stuff in there that form. Shaking it up helps with those. But also, if you can, find an old pantyhose and put that over the spout to your Floetrol with a rubber band. You just wrap the hose around it, and then you rubber band it across the top of that spout, so that when you pour your Floetrol out, it strains it for you. And that way you don't have to worry about straining Floetrol from one container to another and all of that big headache. If you just put a pair of hose over the top, it'll strain it automatically and keep those big blobs out of your work. Those are just some things that somebody told me at one point that I have found to be very helpful. This is Sapphire Colorarte, and I didn't do anything to it. It's just the pigment and the polyacrylic that I use to dissolve it, and the glue. And it's beautiful. Look at how pretty that is. It's a beautiful color. You can deepen it if you want by adding like some phthalo blue to it. I'm going to do that at some point if you want a little deeper sapphire. Kind of like, it reminds me of the DecoArt. DecoArt has a sapphire, metallic sapphire, and then they have a deep sapphire. And this is kind of the same, along the same lines. Let's see. Next off, I got some pretty colors here. It's hard to choose. This is a very concentrated version of Peacock Feather by Colorarte. I added quite a bit of pigment to this one, and it's pretty dark, and I love it. I think it's really pretty. I love all of them. I think Colorarte is top of the line as far as pigments go. I also use Arteza, and I've used Luna Dust and Eye Candy. Eye Candy is real good. Artezas are pretty good. Luna Dust is pretty good. But this is the top of the line right here, if you ask me. Alright, next I have, this is going to be an ocean pour kind of. It's all blue and green. This is Sky Blue. It's also a Colorarte pigment. And I did not adulterate this one. I usually do. I usually add some other colors and deepen them or lighten them or change them in some form. But with these, they're just so beautiful. I wanted to do a couple of pours just using them as they were. You know, just the way they came out. And then I can always fool around with them later. Now we have, this is Peacock Feather, but it's lighter. And you can see the difference. It's just a less concentration. I didn't add as much pigment to this one. So you see, they're so versatile. You know, you can control the color by how much pigment you add. You can control the color by adding different pigments, mixing them, or you can add paint to them, and that really changes them. If you have a pigment and you're fixing to want to change that color drastically, add paint to it. That'll do it. But you have to be careful because you'll over change. This one is a little peacock feather and a little sky blue mixed together to make sort of a turquoise. And I didn't really intend on having these two colors end up being the last colors, but they did. I kind of wanted, I should have put this green on top of the blue, but anyway, this is key lime. I love it. It is beautiful. I want some of it to be all intermixed in there. I'm also using a little less paint this time. I've been having a whole lot of paint, and I started thinking maybe I don't need to use so much paint. I don't think it matters really, but we're going to find out. This is going to be plenty enough to mix around, cover, but it's not as much as what I had been using. When I'm experimenting, a lot of times, when I'm trying to do something new, a lot of times I'll use extra paint because I just don't want to have shortage of paint being one of the factors in my experiment. You know, like trying to do these blooms, I didn't want to end up with a shortage of paint being the reason why it didn't work. See what I mean? So this is well, they call it turquoise. I think it's really aqua, but it's from Hobby Lobby's pouring paint line, and it's the only color I've ever had from that. I just had to try it when they came out with those. I just wanted to see what one was like, and I like it. It's supposed to be pre-mixed where you don't have to do anything to it. Of course, I always do stuff to it. You know, add glue and Floetrol and silicone and, you know, my things. But yeah, it's supposed to be one of those ready to pour paints. Okay, the other thing I'm doing a little different this time is I'm not using as many colors as I have been. I've decided to try one with fewer colors. I got so excited when I got those new pigments in. I just couldn't help it. I used almost all of them. I just went berserk. And it made a beautiful result. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just thought this time I might go a little fewer and see how that does. Now, that was a little more than I wanted, but I wanted a little white out there. I may have to blow that around a little bit. That's kind of a big old blob there. I didn't really want that. Okay. Well, we'll make do. It came out faster than I planned it to. Okay, now, here's the tricky part. To get yourself in a position where you can blow that center out with your mouth, because that's the way it works best to me, is if I can blow that cell activator out with my mouth and then blow the rest of it with a hairdryer, because I don't have enough air to blow the rest of it. It would be beautiful. If you could blow the whole thing with just your breath, I think it would be beautiful. But I don't have that much air, so we're going to just go for the center part. Okay, so here I go. And it always spatters up in my face. Whoops. Okay. Now then. Let me get on my cake pan again. That's my stool. I made me a cake pan stool. It works really well. What? I can't hear you just a minute. What is it?
We need to make that salad.
In a minute, Richard. We don't need to do that till everybody gets here. Another thing is don't overblow them. And I can do that real easy. Sorry for the interruption. Some people are just not respectful of my time in here. Just one of those things. Okay, I'm going to let it float back together for a minute. I didn't blow it too far apart this time, so it shouldn't take but a minute. But we got some pretty lacing there and some cells starting to develop here and there. It's pretty. Now for the interesting part, somewhat tricky part, because you want to maintain the integrity of your bloom, you know, if you can, and still stretch out your lacing and everything that helps with your cell formation. So I want to get it down there, get that corner covered, and then I want it to come, I gotta get this edge here, just push a little bit off of there, just a very little bit. I don't want it to catch the part of my cell activator though. I like the cell activator to stay kind of in the center because that's the part that makes it look like a bloom to me. And so I don't want it to get caught on my edges when I'm tilting. See, I kept the white from getting caught on that edge. And that way when I move it, the white comes back to the center. Now, I don't want all of this. I want it to just kind of drip over that corner and come right on back. And come back to the center, and then we'll head for that corner down there. This is really beautiful. Colors are really pretty, and there's lots of nice lacing in there. We want to get that end down there, just let it barely drip over, then pull it back. And I don't want to lose any of that intricate pretty stuff going on right there. What is that white blob doing there? Get out of there. Don't like that. Okay, now then, bring it back to the center. See if you can scoop up all of that white when you're moving. Bring it all back to the center and head over to this corner over here. I like this amount of paint. I think this works better. I think maybe having less paint stretches it better. I mean, I know it stretches it better, but I think maybe I needed that on my other ones to be stretched a little thinner. It's just that I would get it and I didn't want to pour stuff off because it was just so pretty. You know, I wanted to keep all the paint up there. And so I probably cut some of my lacing out because I didn't want to pour more paint off. I am going to pour a little bit off this side because I kind of have to. I didn't get enough to cover the whole edge. But that's going to be good because it'll pull that lacing, stretch out a little bit there. Alright, gotta get that little bit right there off. Just to make it consistent. Okay, I'm happy with that. Look at the cells, I mean, and the lacing. That's beautiful. And see, it's got a center, you know, that looks like a bloom. That's what I've been trying to get right there. That's beautiful. Just beautiful. I love it. And I'm not going to screw around with it anymore, because that's how I screw things up, is by continuing to mess with it once it's already fixed. I don't know if I ought to pour a little bit more paint off the side. I'm kind of afraid to fool with it. Let me see how much paint is actually on there. Uh-oh, I gotta pour a little bit off this end, because I didn't get that covered yet. And I don't want to pour much, because I like what's going on down there. I don't want to lose those cells and stuff that are there, but I gotta cover that end a little bit. Okay, good enough. Let me see how much paint we got on here. Yeah, I don't want it to craze. I might pour just a tad bit more off this side here. Out this corner. That's good. I don't want to pour any more off than that. I like the way it looks. I think that's gorgeous. I don't know about y'all, but that's beautiful. Let me get y'all down where y'all can have a close look. Now that is what I've been talking about. What I've been trying to do. What I've stayed up till 3 o'clock in the morning for the last 4 or 5 nights. Here's one that I did that's dry now. This is from several days ago, and it's dry. There is a little one that's dry. And the other ones I want to show you when they're dry, but I'm going to probably wait to do that until they get resined, and then I'll just do a video and show all of them. Let me turn this bright light off, because it has quite a glare. The other lights do too, but can't turn them off. Alright, let's see here. Alright, camera, get in focus now. That's not really in focus. That's in focus. I just want y'all to notice all these colors, how beautiful they are, and the lacing. It's just gorgeous. Look at that. And the cells, there's some cells. More cells. There's lacing all through this one, just, you know, in different parts here and there. Look at that. Looks like, reminds me of a sea turtle or something. Look at that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So exciting. I am just so thrilled with this piece. I just couldn't be happier. Look at that. Well, y'all, that's going to do it for this one. I am very pleased. Thank y'all for joining me. As always, I love it when you're here. Y'all stay safe, take care of each other, stay healthy, and join me next time. I don't know what I'm going to do next time. I got to have a new project now. I'll have to think of something else to work on. But y'all tune in. We'll see what it's going to be. Have a good day.